The great station floated above Thesara Prime like a small moon made of metal and glass. Inside its largest chamber, representatives from 847 different species waited in their seats. Some had fur, some had scales, and some looked like nothing found on Earth. They all shared one thing today. They were afraid of humans. Ambassador Velkrin stood at the center podium. His blue skin seemed to glow under the chamber lights. He had called this emergency session 3 weeks ago, and now every major species in the galaxy had sent someone to listen. Fellow members of the Galactic Council, Velkrin began. His voice carried by translators to every ear and communication device in the room. We face a threat unlike any we have seen in 3,000 years. A hologram appeared above the podium. It showed a small blue and green planet orbiting a yellow star. Earth. The chamber filled with whispers and clicks, and sounds that no human could make or understand. This species calls themselves humans, Velkrin continued. For 50 of their years we have watched them. We have studied their transmissions, decoded their languages, and observed their behavior. What we have learned should terrify every peaceful species in this chamber. The hologram changed. Now it showed images from Earth's history. Humans fighting with swords. Humans dropping bombs from aircraft. Humans launching rockets with nuclear warheads. Cities burning. Soldiers marching. Weapons being fired. They have had over 16,000 wars in their recorded history, Velkrin said. They have developed weapons capable of destroying their entire planet. They use these weapons to threaten each other. They cannot unite even among their own kind. Matriarch Sethic, the representative of the reptilian Sethic people, raised her clawed hand. Ambassador Velkrin, this species does not have faster-than-light travel. They are confined to their single planet and their moon. They cannot reach us. Why should we fear them? Velkrin's expression darkened. 3 months ago, humans discovered quantum entanglement communication. They are now broadcasting signals across monitored space. They do not ask for contact. They do not offer peace. They announce their presence and make demands. They act as though they own the galaxy they have not even explored. Another hologram appeared. This one showed human entertainment broadcasts. Movies and shows where humans fought against alien invaders. Images of humans conquering other worlds. Stories where humans always won. Where they destroyed species more advanced than themselves through cleverness and violence. Look at what they dream about, Velkrin said. They imagine us as enemies before they have even met us. They prepare for war in their stories and their games. This is not a species that seeks peace. This is a species that seeks dominance. Director Morvan of Council Security stepped forward. He was tall and thin, with gray skin and 4 arms. He had been quiet until now. But when he spoke, everyone listened. I have reviewed all data on the humans, Morvan said. I have compared their development patterns with every species in our historical database. There is only one other species that matches their aggressive expansion, their rapid technological advancement, and their complete disregard for their own planet's ecosystem. The chamber went silent. Everyone knew what he was about to say. The Devourers, Morvan said quietly. The plague species that nearly destroyed the galaxy 4,000 years ago. The species we swore would never rise again. Fear spread through the chamber like fire. The Devourers were taught to every young member of every council species. They were the nightmare from history. The species that consumed everything in their path, until the entire galaxy united to stop them. Humans are not Devourers, someone shouted from the back. Not yet, Morvan replied. But they are following the same path. In 100 of their years, they went from simple flight to landing on their moon. In another 50 years, they developed quantum communication. They are accelerating. If we wait another 100 years, they will have faster-than-light travel, and then they will spread across the galaxy like a disease. Ambassador Velkrin nodded. I propose a preemptive strike. We send a pacification fleet to Earth. We disable their military capabilities. We establish a protectorate government. We guide them toward peace, before they become a threat we cannot contain. You propose we attack a species that has never attacked us? Matriarch Sethic asked. I propose we prevent a war before it begins, Velkrin answered. We have done this 47 times before. 47 emerging species were guided into peaceful coexistence through temporary intervention. It is our responsibility to protect the galaxy. The debate lasted for 6 hours. Some argued that humans deserved a chance to prove themselves peaceful. Others argued that the evidence was clear. Humans were dangerous, and getting more dangerous every year. Some suggested a blockade instead of an invasion. Others said any contact would accelerate human development and make things worse. Finally, the vote was called. Each species had one vote. The question was simple. Authorize military action against Earth to neutralize potential threat and establish protectorate status. The votes were counted in silence. When the final number appeared on the main display, Ambassador Velkrin smiled. 847 votes in favor, 0 votes against, 0 abstentions. For the first time in Council history, a military action was approved unanimously. The third pacification fleet will depart within 3 standard days, Director Morvan announced. Commander Jextal will lead the operation. 300 warships, 50,000 Marines, full orbital support. Estimated time to complete pacification, 72 hours. The representatives left the chamber feeling relieved. They had identified a threat and taken action. They had prevented another devourer species from rising. They had protected the galaxy. Not one of them questioned whether they had made a mistake. Not one of them wondered if humans might respond differently than the other 47 species. Not one of them considered that attacking a species that had survived 16,000 wars might teach that species something dangerous. The third pacification fleet launched on schedule. Commander Jextal reviewed the mission parameters from his command ship. Disable communications. Destroy military satellites. Eliminate nuclear capabilities. Land occupation forces in major population centers. Standard procedure. The fleet entered faster than light travel toward a small yellow star in an unremarkable section of the galaxy. They would arrive in 6 days. Jextal expected to be home in 2 weeks. Another successful operation completed. Earth's detection systems registered unusual energy signatures at the edge of the solar system 3 days before the fleet arrived. Human scientists studied the readings with growing concern. The patterns matched theoretical models for faster-than-light travel. Within hours, every government on Earth received the same message. We are not alone, and they are coming. Commander Jextal watched the blue planet grow larger on his display screen. Earth looked peaceful from this distance. White clouds swirled over blue oceans and brown continents. It reminded him of his own homeworld. Before industrialization, beautiful and primitive. Drop us out of faster-than-light travel at the system's edge, he ordered. Standard formation. Prepare all weapons systems. The third pacification fleet emerged from FTL in perfect military order. 300 warships arranged in a pattern that had worked for 1,000 years. The smaller ships spread out to cover satellites and space stations. The larger battleships positioned themselves in high orbit. The troop carriers waited in the rear, ready to deploy 50,000 Marines once the ground was softened. Begin Phase 1, Jextal commanded. The operation started exactly as planned. Plasma beams lanced down from orbit, striking every military satellite Earth had in space. Communication satellites died next, their circuits fried by electromagnetic pulses. Within 10 minutes, Earth's space infrastructure was reduced to floating debris. Phase 1 complete, his tactical officer reported. All orbital assets neutralized. The humans are blind. Phase 2, Jextal said. Target their nuclear weapons. The battleships adjusted their aim. Sensors had mapped every nuclear missile silo, every submarine base, every facility that might launch weapons into space. The plasma cannons fired again. superheat vaporizing concrete and metal before any human could react. Underground bunkers collapsed. Launch sites melted into glass craters. "Sir, we are detecting energy signatures from the planet's surface," the tactical officer said. His voice carried a note of concern. "Conventional weapons," Zextal replied without worry. "They cannot reach us at this altitude." The tactical officer opened his mouth to respond. Then the first ship died. The destroyer times Kelmath's honor times simply broke apart. One moment it was holding position above North America. The next moment, its hull was torn open by something moving too fast to track. Atmosphere vented into space, along with crew members. "What hit us?" Zextal demanded. "Unknown projectile, sir. Mass driver technology. Solid tungsten rod launched at extreme velocity." The tactical officer's hands moved quickly across his controls. "Sir, I am detecting 14 more launch sites. They were hidden underground. Our sensors did not find them. Destroy those sites immediately." But the humans were not waiting. More tungsten rods launched from hidden installations across the planet. They were simple weapons. Primitive compared to galactic technology. But they were launched from Earth's surface, which gave them gravity to accelerate them. By the time they reached orbital altitude, they were moving at a significant fraction of light speed. 3 more ships were damaged. One lost its engine core and began drifting. Another took a rod through its command center, killing everyone on the bridge. "This is not how primitives fight," Zextal muttered. "Sir, we have another problem," the communications officer said. "Something is attacking our computer systems. Our quantum encryption is being penetrated. That is impossible. No species cracks quantum encryption without centuries of development. Nevertheless, sir, it is happening. Multiple ships are reporting system intrusions. Unknown code is spreading through the fleet network. On Earth, in a facility deep beneath the mountains of Colorado, Admiral Chen watched the battle unfold on screens. The data came from hidden satellites the aliens had not found, from ground-based telescopes, and from radar installations that had survived the first strike. "The kinetic weapons are working," an officer reported. "We damaged or destroyed 6 ships. Not enough," Chen said. "There are still almost 300 of them up there. Activate the cyber warfare division." In another part of the facility, teams of hackers worked at their computers. They had been preparing for this scenario since the 1950 seconds. Since humans first started looking at the stars and wondering what else was out there. Every science fiction writer, every military planner, every paranoid programmer had asked the same question. What if aliens come, and they are not friendly? Now they had their answer. And they were ready. The Galactic Fleet used quantum computers for everything. Their systems were sophisticated and powerful. But they were also standardized across all Council species. Once the humans cracked the encryption on one captured alien probe years ago, they had a roadmap into the entire network. Chaos spread through the fleet. Navigation systems reported false positions. Weapon targeting systems locked onto friendly ships. Life support controls went haywire, flooding some sections with heat and others with cold. It was not enough to destroy the fleet, but it was enough to cause confusion. "Land the Marines," Zextal ordered. "Establish ground control. We will deal with these technical issues from the surface." The troop carriers descended through Earth's atmosphere. They headed for major cities: Beijing, New York, Moscow, London, Tokyo. The plan was simple: land overwhelming force in population centers, secure government buildings, force humanity's leaders to surrender. The first carrier landed outside Beijing. 5,000 Marines deployed, moving in practiced formation toward the city. They had done this before, on other worlds. Show force, but avoid unnecessary casualties. Demonstrate superiority, and wait for surrender. The humans did not surrender. Fighter jets appeared from nowhere, flying so low they almost touched the ground. They fired missiles at point-blank range, then veered away before return fire could lock onto them. Many jets were destroyed, but they took landing craft with them. In Beijing, Chinese soldiers appeared on rooftops and in buildings. They did not line up for a traditional battle. They ambushed, fired, and disappeared. The Galactic Marines had better armor and better weapons, but they were fighting in an unfamiliar city against an enemy that knew every street and building. Why are they not surrendering? Zextal's second-in-command asked. We have destroyed their space capability. We have neutralized their nuclear weapons. We have orbital superiority. They cannot win. Send a message to their governments, Zextal ordered. Offer terms. Surrender now and we will establish peace. Continue fighting, and we will be forced to use more extreme measures. The message was broadcast on every frequency humans used. It was translated into every major language. It promised fair treatment under a galactic protectorate. It promised peace and prosperity if humans would only accept council guidance. Admiral Chen listened to the message in his command center. Then he pressed a button that opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. Commander Zextal of the 3rd Pacification Fleet, Chen said in clear English, which the alien translators converted instantly. This is Admiral Chen of Earth's United Defense Command. We receive your offer of surrender. We decline. You have invaded our world without warning or provocation. You have killed millions of our people. You have destroyed our cities. And now you expect us to thank you for it? Chen leaned closer to the microphone. We have been at war with each other for 10,000 years. We have fought over land, over resources, over ideas and religions and things that do not matter. We are very good at war, Commander. We have practiced. And now, for the first time in our history, every human on this planet agrees on something. We agree that you made a mistake coming here. You cannot win this war, Zextal replied. We have 300 ships. You have none. We have technology you cannot match. Surrender and save your people further suffering. We have been expecting you for 70 years, Commander, Chen said. Every government, every military, every scientist who looked at the stars knew this day might come. We prepared. And now, you are going to learn something about humans. We do not surrender. We do not give up. You can kill us all, but you cannot make us kneel. The transmission ended. Zextal stared at the display screen in disbelief. Then another alarm sounded. More ships were reporting damage from those primitive kinetic weapons. More systems were failing from the cyber attacks. And on the ground, the Marines were requesting reinforcements as human resistance intensified. Send a message to the Council, Zextal said quietly. Inform them that the operation is taking longer than expected. Request additional support. The message traveled faster than light back to Thesara Prime. When it arrived, Ambassador Velkrin read it 3 times before he believed what it said. The 3rd Pacification Fleet, the same force that had subdued 47 species, was requesting help to defeat one primitive planet. The Galactic Council chamber was not quiet anymore. Representatives shouted at each other across the floor. Some demanded answers, others demanded action. A few demanded to know how a simple operation had turned into a 3-month nightmare. Director Morvan stood at the center podium, his forearms crossed. He waited for silence. When it finally came, he spoke in a cold, measured voice. The 3rd Pacification Fleet reports 60% casualties. They have lost 180 ships. The Marines on the ground report that controlling human cities is impossible. For every building they secure, humans attack from 10 others. For every government facility they occupy, humans establish new command centers, underground or in rural areas. How is this possible? Matriarch Sethik demanded. They are primitives. They have no space fleet. They have no advanced weapons. How can they resist 300 warships? Because we gave them something they never had before, Ambassador Velkrin said quietly. He looked older now. tired in a way that went beyond physical exhaustion. We gave them a common enemy. For the first time in their history, every human nation has united. Russia shares intelligence with America. China coordinates attacks with Europe. Countries that were enemies for centuries now fight side by side. Morvan activated a hologram. It showed a map of Earth with thousands of red dots marking human resistance activity. They are using guerrilla tactics across the entire planet. They ambush our patrols, then disappear into the civilian population. They have turned their cities into traps. When our Marines enter a building, humans collapse the structure on top of them. When we send aircraft, humans shoot them down with primitive missiles. When we establish a base, humans attack it at night with explosives. Then we destroy their cities, someone shouted from the crowd. Remove their hiding places. We have sent the 7th and 12th fleets, Morvan continued, ignoring the interruption. 900 additional warships. Commander Jextal now has over 1,000 ships in orbit around Earth. He has 200,000 Marines on the ground. He controls orbital space completely. And yet, the humans continue to fight. Another hologram appeared. This one showed footage from a Marine helmet camera. The view was inside a human city, building ruins on all sides. Suddenly, humans appeared from everywhere at once. They fired weapons that looked ancient compared to galactic technology. But there were so many of them, and they did not care about dying. The Marines returned fire with their plasma rifles. They killed dozens of humans, but more humans kept coming. The video ended when something exploded near the camera. Their surrender rate is less than 1%, Morvan said. Even when surrounded and clearly defeated, humans fight until they are killed. They do not retreat. They do not surrender. They simply fight until they cannot fight anymore. What are their military losses? A council member asked. Estimated at over 200 million dead. Morvan replied. Their infrastructure is 60% destroyed. Their major cities are in ruins. They should have surrendered months ago. After their I-1 set in. One person stated, the set in 1761. The chamber fell silent. 200 million dead, and the humans were still fighting. It made no sense. Every other species the council had pacified surrendered once casualties reached even 10% of that number. I propose enhanced pacification, Ambassador Velkrin said. His voice was hard now, angry. We have tried the gentle approach. We have tried to minimize casualties. Clearly, humans only understand force. I propose orbital bombardment of their largest population centers. Break their will to fight. The debate lasted for hours. Some council members argued this was genocide. Others argued it was necessary. A few suggested withdrawal, but they were shouted down. The council had never retreated from a primitive species. They could not show weakness. Finally, the vote passed. Enhanced pacification was authorized. The fleet was ordered to bombard 10 major human cities from orbit. The message to Earth was clear. Surrender or watch your civilization burn. Commander Jextal received the order in his command ship. He read it twice. Then, looked at his tactical officer. Target Beijing, São Paulo, Delhi, Lagos, Istanbul, New York, Moscow, Tokyo, Tehran, and Cairo. Prepare kinetic bombardment. Sir, there are over 500 million humans in those cities. I have my orders, Jextal said. The bombardment began at dawn. Kinetic projectiles fell from orbit like rain made of fire. They struck with the force of nuclear weapons but without the radiation. Beijing was reduced to a crater 30 miles across. Sao Paulo burned for days. The death toll climbed to 600 million in the first week. The council waited for humanity to surrender. They had shown their power. They had demonstrated that resistance was futile. Surely now the humans would see reason. Instead, Earth went silent. For 3 days, No broadcasts came from the planet. No attacks, no communications, nothing. Commander Jextal began to think the bombardment had finally broken them. Then, a transmission reached his ship. It came from somewhere on Earth, location unknown. Admiral Chen's face appeared on the screen. He looked thinner than before. Older. His eyes were cold. "You killed our children," Chen said quietly. "You killed our parents, our families, our friends. You destroyed cities that stood for thousands of years. You thought this would make us surrender." Chen leaned forward. "You were wrong. You have shown us what you really are. You are not peacekeepers. You are not protectors. You are murderers who hide behind noble words. And now, we are going to show you what humans become when you take everything from us." The transmission ended. Jextal felt a chill run through his body. There was something in the human's voice that frightened him more than any weapon. "Sir, we are detecting a massive energy signature on Earth," the sensor officer reported. "Location appears to be underground, somewhere in the North American continent." "What kind of signature?" "Unknown, sir. It matches theoretical patterns for faster-than-light engine ignition." "That is impossible. Humans do not have FTL technology." The energy signature spiked. Then it vanished. In its place, sensor showed empty space. "Sir, something just jumped to FTL. It came from Earth." Jextal stood up slowly. "A human ship just achieved faster-than-light travel?" "It appears so, sir. The signature was crude, unstable, but functional. Estimated ship mass is small, perhaps 100 meters in length." "Where did it go?" "Unknown, sir. We cannot track ships in FTL." The answer came 3 days later. The human ship appeared in the Velkrin system, homeworld of Ambassador Velkrin. It appeared at high speed near the orbital shipyards where the Galactic Council constructed its warships. The human ship did not slow down. It did not send a message. It did not demand surrender. It simply crashed into the largest shipyard at 90% of light speed. The impact was visible from the planet's surface. The shipyard, its workers, and the human ship all vaporized instantly. The explosion took out 2 other shipyards and 4 battleships under construction. 40,000 Velkrin died in less than a second. The message reached the Council 6 hours later. Ambassador Velkrin listened to the report in silence. His people were dead. His world's shipyards were destroyed. And it had been done by a single human ship. "This cannot be real," Matriarch Sethik said. "They achieved FTL travel in 3 months? That takes most species 300 years. They had motivation," Morvan said quietly. "And they had captured technology from our ships. Apparently, they learned faster than we estimated." "One ship," Velkrin whispered. "One crude ship did more damage than any single action in the war so far. And it is not their only ship," Morvan continued. He activated another display. "We are detecting multiple FTL signatures across human-controlled space. They are building more ships. Crude, unstable, barely functional. But they work." "How many?" "At least 20. Possibly more. They are hiding construction facilities in their asteroid belt and on their moon. We cannot track them all." The chamber erupted in panic. If humans were building an FTL fleet, the entire war changed. They were no longer trapped on one planet. They could strike anywhere in Council space. "Recall the fleet," someone shouted. "We must defend our homeworlds." "We cannot withdraw," Velkrin argued. "If we leave Earth now, the humans win. We will have lost to primitives." "We already lost," Morvan said. "We just have not admitted it yet." 6 months after the invasion began, another transmission reached the Council. This time, it came from a human ship in orbit around Thesara Prime. A human fleet of 15 ships, each one cobbled together from salvaged alien technology and human engineering. They looked like they would fall apart at any moment, but they were there, in the heart of Council space. The transmission was simple. You voted to invade. Now we vote on whether you survive. The human fleet hung in space above Thesara Prime, like a threat made real. 15 ships that looked more like scrap metal than warships. They were ugly, asymmetrical, held together with welds that would make any proper engineer weep. But their weapons were pointed at the planet below. And everyone knew what humans were now capable of. Commander Chen transmitted from the lead ship. Her face filled every screen in the council chamber. She was younger than Admiral Chen, perhaps his daughter, with the same cold eyes. "My name is Captain Sarah Chen," she said. "3 months ago, you bombed Beijing. My parents lived there. My sister lived there. 23 million people lived there. Now it is a glass crater." She paused. The council representatives watched in silence. "You thought bombing our cities would break us. You were wrong. It taught us something important. It taught us that you are not peacekeepers. You are not civilized. You are predators who prey on species weaker than yourselves. And we have decided that the galaxy does not need you anymore. You cannot win this war," Ambassador Velkrin transmitted back. His voice shook slightly. "We have thousands of ships. You have 15. We have enough," Sarah replied. "Tell me, Ambassador, how many ships do we need to destroy your homeworld? 1? 2? We already proved what 1 ship can do to your shipyards. Would you like to see what 15 ships can do to your cities? That would be genocide." "Yes," Sarah said simply. "The same genocide you attempted on Earth. The difference is that we will succeed. Your planet has no defense against relativistic impacts. We can drop kinetic weapons from orbit just like you did to us. Or we can simply crash our ships into your population centers. We have proven we are willing to die for our cause. Are you willing to die for yours? Are you willing to die?" Perfor. The council chamber erupted. Representatives shouted at each other. Some demanded that the human fleet be destroyed immediately. Others pointed out that destroying 15 ships would not prevent more human ships from appearing. And nobody knew how many ships humans had actually built. Director Morvan stood and raised his 4 arms for silence. "Captain Chen, what are your demands?" "Simple. The fleet surrounding Earth withdraws immediately. All Council forces leave our solar system. You leave us alone, forever. And in exchange, we will not reduce every Council homeworld to rubble." "You cannot patrol the entire galaxy," Velkrin shouted. "Eventually, we will overwhelm you with numbers." "Perhaps," Sarah agreed. "But how many of your worlds will burn before that happens? How many of your people will die? We have lost 3 billion humans in this war. 3 billion. Every human who survived has nothing left but hatred for you. We will spend the next 1,000 years building ships for one purpose: making you pay for what you did." She leaned closer to the camera. "Or you can withdraw now, and we can both survive. Your choice." "We need time to discuss this," Morvan said. "You have 1 hour," Sarah replied. The transmission ended. The council debated in chaos. Some wanted to call the human bluff, but nobody was sure it was a bluff. Others wanted to negotiate, but that meant admitting defeat to a species they had tried to exterminate. A few suggested a massive counterattack, but Morvan pointed out that every ship sent to Thesara Prime was a ship not defending other worlds. While they argued, reports came in from across Council space. Human ships were appearing everywhere. They struck fast and disappeared faster. A supply convoy was destroyed near the Sethic homeworld. A listening post went silent in the outer rim. A council research station was boarded by humans who stole everything and vanished. The humans were not trying to conquer territory. They were demonstrating that council space was no longer safe, that humans could appear anywhere, at any time, and the council could not stop them. "They are raiders now," Morvan said. "They take what they need and leave. Technology, resources, information. Every attack makes them stronger. Then we must destroy Earth Velcrin insisted. Remove their homeworld and scatter them across space. Without a central world, they cannot coordinate. That will make things worse, Morvan replied. Right now, they are angry, but somewhat rational. They want survival and revenge. If we destroy Earth completely, we create a species with nothing left to lose. Every human will become a suicide attacker, dedicated solely to our destruction. They will never stop, never surrender, never negotiate. Is that what you want? The hour passed. Sarah Chen's face reappeared on the screens. We are still discussing, Velcrin said quickly. Your time is up, Sarah replied. Every minute you delay, another human ship reaches Council space. We now have 47 ships operational. In 6 months, we will have 200. In a year, we will have 1,000. We are very motivated, Ambassador. You taught us to be. We will withdraw from Earth, Morvan said suddenly. Every head in the chamber turned to look at him. I have authority, as Security Director, to make this decision in emergency situations. The Third Pacification Fleet is ordered to return to Council space immediately. That is not enough, Sarah said. You attacked us without provocation. You killed 3 billion of our people. You tried to enslave our entire species. And you think withdrawing your ships is sufficient? What more do you want? Reparations, technology transfers, and a guarantee that you will never attack another emerging species. We want changes to your precious council laws. That is impossible, Velcrin shouted. You cannot dictate terms to the entire Galactic Council. We are not dictating, Sarah said calmly. We are negotiating. You can accept our terms and live, or you can refuse and die. We are comfortable with either outcome. The screen behind her changed to show Earth. The blue planet was covered in scars now. Craters where cities had been. Burn marks from orbital bombardment. Dead zones where nothing would grow for generations. Look at what you did to our world, Sarah said. We will never forget. We will never forgive. But we might, possibly, coexist with you if you prove you can learn from your mistakes. Morvan looked around the chamber. He saw fear on alien faces. Good. They should be afraid. We will pay reparations, he said. We will provide technology that will help you rebuild. And we will review our first contact protocols. Not good enough, Sarah replied. We want full membership in the Galactic Council. Equal status with every species here. We want voting rights. We want embassy space on Thesara Prime. We want to be part of the decisions that affect the galaxy. You are demanding we reward you for resistance? Velcrin was shaking with rage. You murdered 40,000 of my people. After you murdered 3 billion of mine, Sarah shot back. Do not pretend you are the victims here. You started this war. We are just finishing it. The debate continued for another 6 hours. Finally, exhausted and frightened, the council agreed to modified terms. Reparations would be paid. Technology would be shared. Earth would be recognized as a sovereign system with protection from further interference. And in 50 years, if humans proved they could coexist peacefully with other species, they would be eligible for council membership. Sarah Chen listened to the terms. We accept, she said. But understand this. We are patient. We can wait 50 years. We can wait 500 years. But we will never forget what you did. If you ever threaten us, or any other species the way you threatened us, we will burn the galaxy to ashes. We have learned that lesson from you. The Council fleet withdrew from Earth's solar system 1 week later. The humans watched them go and did not celebrate. There was nothing to celebrate. 3 billion people were dead. Earth's surface was devastated. Entire cities were gone. The survivors lived in underground shelters and lunar colonies. But they were free, and they were no longer alone in the universe. They had learned the galaxy was dangerous, that advanced technology did not mean advanced morality, that sometimes the only way to survive was to be more frightening than your enemies. Human engineers studied the alien technology they had captured. Human scientists worked on improving their crude FTL drives. Human shipyards in the asteroid belt continued building warships. Because Sarah Chen had not lied to the Council, humans would never forget what was done to them. In bunkers across Earth, children learned about the invasion. They learned the names of the dead. They learned how to fight, how to survive, how to never surrender. A new generation grew up under scarred skies, and they all understood one truth. The galaxy was not safe, and humans would need to be strong to survive in it. The Council had created exactly what they feared. They had turned a peaceful, isolated species into warriors. They had taught humans that the galaxy operated on strength, not mercy. They had given humanity a common purpose and a common enemy. Ambassador Velcrin watched the human ships depart from Thesara Prime. They moved with crude efficiency, their engines leaving trails of unstable energy. But they were functional. In a few years, they would be refined. In a decade, they might be advanced. In a century, humans might have a fleet that rivaled the Council's. He had voted to invade Earth to prevent a threat. Instead, he had created one far worse than he could have imagined. 1 year after the invasion began, Director Morvan sat alone in his office and reviewed casualty reports. The numbers were staggering. 2,000 Council ships destroyed or damaged beyond repair. 400,000 military personnel dead. 16 shipyards damaged or destroyed. Economic losses that would take decades to recover from. And Earth was still standing. He pulled up another file, one that frightened him more than the casualty numbers. Human ship sightings across the galaxy. They were everywhere now, like ghosts haunting Council space. Human ships did not stay to fight. They appeared, struck fast, and vanished into FTL before anyone could respond. The pattern was clear. Humans were not trying to conquer territory. They were learning. Every raid took technology, resources, and information. Every attack taught them something new about Council defenses and capabilities. They were studying their enemy the way any good predator studies its prey. Worse, human diplomats had started contacting species the Council had subjugated in the past. Offering weapons, sharing technology, teaching resistance tactics. The seeds of rebellion were spreading across the galaxy, and humans were watering them with hope. A message appeared on Morvan's console. Ambassador Velcrin wanted to meet. Morvan approved the request, and moments later, Velcrin entered the office. He looked terrible. His blue skin had faded to gray. He moved like a man much older than his years. The Praxis sector has declared independence, Velcrin said without greeting. 3 systems, 12 populated worlds. They are refusing to pay Council taxes or follow Council law, and they are being supplied with weapons by humans. That makes 6 sectors in open rebellion, Morvan replied. With human support, they might actually succeed. This is disaster. The Council is falling apart. The Council fell apart the moment we voted to invade Earth, Morvan said. We just did not realize it at the time. Velcrin sat down heavily. I have reviewed all intelligence reports on humanity. Do you know what frightens me most? It is not their weapons. It is not their ships. It is that they are still accelerating. They went from no FTL travel to a growing fleet in 12 months. What will they be capable of? In 5 years? In 10 years? In 50 years? They will probably surpass us, Morvan said. Their rate of technological advancement is unprecedented. And now, they have motivation. We gave them a clear demonstration that the galaxy is dangerous, and that strength is the only thing that matters. We should have listened to the minority opinions during the vote, Velcrin said bitterly. The ones who said we should observe humans for another century before making contact. The ones who suggested peaceful first contact instead of invasion. Velcrin said, be time. Ones who suggested peaceful first contact. There were no minority opinions. The vote was unanimous. Remember? I remember. Velkrin closed his eyes. I will spend the rest of my life regretting that vote. A priority alert flashed across Morvan's console. He opened it and read quickly. Then he read it again to make sure he understood. Humans have just contacted the Galactic Council directly, he said. They are requesting formal negotiations. About what? An armistice. They want to end the active warfare and establish permanent terms of coexistence. Velkrin looked up sharply. They are willing to negotiate? Apparently. The message says they will send a delegation to Thesara Prime. They request safe passage and diplomatic immunity. Reported 44. The 44, with hard 91C. The message says they will send a delegation. It could be a trap. Or it could be genuine, Morvan said. Human attacks have decreased in the past month. They are no longer raiding as frequently. Maybe they have achieved whatever goal they were pursuing. Or maybe they are preparing for something larger. There is only one way to find out. Morvan sent a reply authorizing the human delegation to approach Thesara Prime. Then he called an emergency council session. 3 days later, a single human ship appeared at the edge of the Thesara system. It was newer than the crude vessels from before, sleeker and more refined. Human engineering was improving rapidly. The ship followed the designated flight path to the council station, without deviation. The Galactic Council gathered in full session for the first time since voting to invade Earth. Every species sent their ambassador. The chamber was packed with representatives who wanted to see the humans who had humbled the Council's military might. The human delegation entered the chamber with 6 people. They wore dark blue uniforms with Earth insignia. At their head walked Admiral Chen. He was older now, gray hair and a slight limp from an injury during the war, but his eyes were sharp and clear. The chamber fell silent as Chen walked to the center podium. He looked around at the hundreds of alien species watching him. Then, he spoke. Members of the Galactic Council. 1 year ago, you voted unanimously to invade my homeworld. You did this without warning, without provocation, without attempting peaceful contact. You decided that humanity was too dangerous to exist as a free species. Nobody interrupted. Nobody moved. You killed 3 billion of my people, Chen continued. You destroyed our cities. You bombed our infrastructure. You tried to break our will through force and terror. You thought we would surrender like the other species you have conquered. You were wrong. Humans do not surrender. We do not kneel. We fight. And when you pushed us to the edge of extinction, we pushed back harder than you thought possible. Chen paused. But we are not here for revenge today. We are here because continuing this war serves neither side. You have lost thousands of ships and hundreds of thousands of lives. We have lost billions. Both our civilizations are bleeding. And for what? What are you proposing? Morvan asked from his seat. An armistice, Chen said. Not peace. We will never be friends. We will never forget what you did. But we can coexist. We can agree to leave each other alone. We can establish boundaries and protocols that prevent future conflict. And if we refuse? Velkrin asked quietly. Then this war continues until one of us is extinct, Chen replied. We have 120 ships now. Next year we will have 400. We are building manufacturing facilities across our solar system and in unclaimed space. We are reverse engineering your technology. In 5 years, we will match your fleet in size. In 10 years, we will surpass it. You cannot win a long war against a species that learns as fast as we do. The chamber erupted in arguments. Some representatives demanded the humans be arrested. Others called for a vote to authorize total warfare. A few suggested accepting the human terms. Morvan stood and raised his arms for silence. Admiral Chen, what specifically are your terms? Full recognition of Earth and all human colonies as sovereign territory, Chen said. No council interference in human affairs. No monitoring. No observation. No guidance. We rule ourselves. Reasonable, Morvan said. Continue. All council species agree to respect human borders. Any ship entering our space without permission will be considered hostile and destroyed without warning. Also reasonable. Reparations for the damage done to Earth. Technology transfers to help us rebuild. Medical supplies. Raw materials. Whatever we need to recover from what you did to us. How much? Enough to rebuild our major cities. Enough to support our population while our agriculture recovers. Enough to make right what you made wrong. Velkrin stood. You are asking us to pay for the privilege of being defeated by you. No, Chen said. I am asking you to pay for the lives you took. The cities you destroyed. The children who will never be born because you killed their parents. You started this war, Ambassador Velkrin. You pushed the vote. You convinced the council that humans were too dangerous to live free. Now you get to pay for that decision. Chen looked directly at Velkrin. You voted to invade Earth because you feared we might become like the Devourers. Congratulations. You taught us to be exactly what you feared. Every human child now grows up learning that the galaxy is hostile, that aliens cannot be trusted, that strength is the only thing that matters. You created your own nightmare. 1. The chamber was silent. Velkrin sat down slowly, his face unreadable. There is one more condition, Chen said. The council will never again vote to invade an emerging species without attempting peaceful first contact. You will never again destroy a civilization because you fear what it might become. You will judge species by their actions, not your assumptions. And if you ever violate this principle, humanity will come for you. We will destroy every council world. We will reduce your civilizations to ashes. That is our promise. You cannot dictate council law, someone shouted from the crowd. We are not dictating, Chen replied. We are warning. Change your ways, or face the consequences. Your choice. Chen replied. The debate lasted for hours. Some wanted to refuse. But nobody could explain how to defeat a human species that was improving faster than any species in recorded history. Others wanted to negotiate better terms, but Chen made it clear. These terms were non-negotiable. Finally, the vote was called. Recognize humanity as sovereign. Pay reparations. Change first contact protocols. The votes came in slowly this time. Not unanimous, like before, but the majority supported the terms. The council had learned a lesson about underestimating their enemies. 3 months later, the first human ambassador arrived at the rebuilt council station. Her name was Lisa Chen, Admiral Chen's granddaughter. She was young, barely 30 years old, but she carried herself with the confidence of someone who knew her species had earned its place through blood and fire. She walked through the corridors of the station, past alien species that had voted to destroy her homeworld. They watched her with fear and respect. She did not smile. She did not offer friendship. She simply took her place in the council chamber as Earth's representative. The council had 847 member species now. 848 including humanity. Lisa Chen's first speech to the council was brief. My people are rebuilding. Earth's skies are still dark with ash from your bombardment. Our cities are ruins. Our population is 1/3 what it was before you came. But we are alive. We are free. And we will never forget what you taught us. She looked around the chamber. You taught us that the galaxy is dangerous. That peace is an illusion. That the only safety comes from being too dangerous to attack. We have learned that lesson, well. We hope you never make us demonstrate it again. Then she sat down. The council session continued with discussions of trade disputes and border disagreements. Normal business. But everyone in the chamber felt the change. Humanity was no longer an unknown species on a distant planet. They were a member of the galactic community. A member nobody would ever dare attack again. On Earth, children played in the ruins of old cities while construction crews rebuilt around them. They looked up at the sky differently now. The stars were not mysterious and distant. They were places humans could reach, worlds humans could visit. But the stars were also dangerous, full of species that had tried to destroy them. Admiral Chen watched the sunset from what remained of Beijing. The glass crater had been partially refilled, and people were moving back slowly. It would take generations to fully recover. But humans were patient. They would rebuild. They would remember. And they would make sure that no species ever threatened them again. The Galactic Council had voted to invade Earth. They had shattered their own illusions of safety and superiority. They had learned that technology alone did not win wars, that civilization did not guarantee wisdom, and that sometimes the most dangerous species in the galaxy was the one you pushed too far. Humanity had earned its freedom the hardest way possible, and the galaxy would never be the same.